Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Macho podcast, or the Macho cast, or whatever we're going to call this thing. It's working title, or collector's box. Today we're going to be talking about Marvel and all of its glorious movies and some of the not so glorious movies. But overall, still some pretty good movies. Still entertaining, anyways. I am Dyson Ritchie.
I am Nate Miller.
He's a good friend of mine, and he knows a lot about Marvel, so that's why he's here to talk about Marvel with me. So, I don't know, do you want to start on whatever you wanted to talk about?
Well, where to begin?
You want to start with, I don't know, the first Marvel movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Well, if we want to do the first Marvel movie, we'll have to go all the way back to the 80s with Howard the Duck.
Yeah, true.
Fun fact about Howard the Duck, however, that's the first movie where you ever get to see a pair of duck boobs. There's a scene in the movie where he's like, I guess, flying through walls or whatever or something. I think it's towards the beginning on his home planet. And if you watch carefully, there's a female duck in the bathtub, and her bare breasts are exposed.
Was the first Spider-Man or the first Hulk movie? Which one? Was
Spider-Man came first in 2002, but filming and stuff was in 2001. Blade came out in 1999. So we've got Blade. X-Men came out in 2000.
Yeah.
They all kind of came out together, and really they kind of started to pave the way, but more than anything, I think it started with X-Men.
Yeah, definitely. And but too bad that's 20th Century Fox, and for some reason they don't want to.
Well, fortunately, with Days of Future Past, the last I want to say 14 years of crappy X-Men movies have been swept under the rug, so to say, with the ending of that. If you guys have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't,
spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert. The movie's been out for almost a year now. So,
yeah, so
if you haven't seen it, that's that's your own fault. But Wolverine goes back in the past to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask. And the timeline that they exist in, she successfully kills him in Paris at the summit to end the Vietnam War. And they capture her, get her DNA, and they use that DNA to perfect the Sentinels, which later on in the story at the beginning of the movie, we see the Sentinels have pretty much killed all of the mutants.
And starting taking in all the humans also.
Yes. Yeah. Anyone connected to helping mutants, the branded traitors, mutants, literally have a brand of an M placed over their eye to identify them as mutants. Most famously seen on Bishop, the mutant. But they send, and by they I mean Charles and Eric, Magneto and Professor X, send Wolverine back into the past to stop Rogue from killing Trask. And it works, everything goes hunky-dory, and only he knows of both timelines, and when he wakes up at the end of the movie, Jean is alive, Scott's alive.
Will the Phoenix stuff exist in this timeline?
She still has the potential, I would say. She still has the potential inside of her to be the Phoenix.
But the stuff that happened with the Phoenix...
The stuff that happened with the Phoenix in the third X-Men movie been washed away.
Yeah, the first three X-Men movies basically didn't happen with this new timeline.
Right.
Yeah. And so that'll be interesting to see in X-Men Apocalypse how
X-Men Apocalypse, I think, is going to be one of the better Marvel movies ever made. Probably the best X-Men movie ever made. And I say that just because they're not bringing back very many people of the original cast, and I think the only one that is even planning to come back is Wolverine. He's the only one that we've seen in every movie up to date. But Jean, Cyclops, Storm, they will all be played by younger actors and actresses.
Yeah. Maybe based in the 80s, right? That's what you said?
Yeah, in the 80s. And it's pretty much one of those stories that will help us link the First Class trilogy with the original trilogy and the events that happened in Days of Future Past. Because when Wolverine wakes up in Days of Future Past, he
has memory of the other timeline and not the
not the events of the new one.
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions. The first question he poses to Charles is, what happened?
Mm-hmm. He's like, oh yeah. I'm assuming Charles finds out about the other timeline because he reads Wolverine's
yes.
mind. Yeah,
he knows of it. He doesn't know the exact happenings, but he definitely knows of the dark future that he helped prevent.
Yeah, which is a good thing that they did that. And what's cool is Apocalypse will be in the next one. Was he the first mutant?
I don't want to say the first mutant, but certainly one of the oldest ones.
Yeah.
In the comic books, he's
Probably
the one that constructed the pyramids. Definitely one of the most powerful.
Yeah. Probably Thanos powerful.
Comparable.
Yeah, that's what I.
As far as mutants go.
Yeah, and saying that he built the pyramids, that's pretty awesome that he can do that with his powers. It'll take Thanos a little bit longer, I think, to build, but to destroy, I think Thanos will destroy a little bit faster.
Thanos is definitely not a telepath.
Yeah.
Just a crazy murderer.
Yeah, Mad Titan. He was, what wasn't he like, disformed from the rest of the Titans?
Yes, he born on the moon Titan, the moon of Saturn, was born deformed. So to say, he purple.
He's just purple, yeah.
But they knew almost immediately that something was wrong. When he was born, his mother was crazy because of it, and she could sense that he was going to do wrong. And growing up in his adolescence, he meets this girl who won't tell him her name. She won't say her name to him, and you kind of get the feeling of who it is. It certainly foreshadows who it is, but you don't really understand until the big reveal that this little girl is Death, and she is warping and manipulating his mind already.
Yeah, that's in the Marvel comic series, Death is a lady.
Yes.
And that's Thanos' big crush. Really, all of his stuff he's trying to do is just trying to impress a girl.
Everything Thanos does is to pretty much
win her over.
Get into Death's pants.
Yeah.
So to say.
He's just horny.
He wants. He is a man.
But he's really crazy too. So. And weren't all the Titans like super strong and stuff like that? Or just really smart?
They were incredibly smart, very scientific race.
Yeah, because they had like those Titan outfits or like the armor that they had that I've seen in the comics.
In the Thanos Rising comics, which is the most recent story of Thanos' upbringing, it doesn't really go into whether or not they're super strong, but it definitely a super scientific, super intelligent race of people. And Thanos grows up, he graduates their education system, so to say, and goes out into the galaxy and starts to, make illegitimate children. Like, he very horny, pretty much putting his bastard seed all over the galaxy. And he is then again, confronted by Death, and to woo her, he goes on this killing spree across the galaxy to kill his entire offspring, every bastard he's ever made, and in some cases, even the mother, if she's gotten in the way, he kills her as well. And it all ends stopping. The Thanos Rising series ends with him stopping at Saturn, at Titan, and killing everybody.
Now, does he actually destroy his homeworld, or does he just kill everybody there?
Well, he certainly destroys everything. He raises it, but the moon is still there.
Okay, so and he just wipes everybody out, basically.
From what I can gather and what I'm assuming, the way that it ends is he uses the ruins of Titan as kind of a staging point for the Infinity War that he takes to Earth and throughout the galaxy afterward. And
he's the one who makes the Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Well,
or is that made by something or someone else? Because that's something I never actually know.
He personally does not construct the gauntlet. Depending on which Infinity story you read, there's the Infinity War, the Infinity Crusade, and then last year, I believe it was last year, they came out with Infinity, which is the most recent telling of the Infinity War. It introduces the stones and kind of goes through the stories and stuff like that, but in Infinity, the one from 2013 or 14, I can't remember which year it came out in, Thanos actually doesn't get his hand on the gauntlet, but he's certainly trying to. And the stones are all possessed by different members of what is known as the Illuminati, which is not the same Illuminati that, put Barack Obama into office.
That the internet is always freaking out about. This is a different Illuminati.
Not the same Illuminati on the dollar bill.
Intergalactic Illuminati.
And the Marvel Illuminati consists of, before his death, Charles Xavier, and he was succeeded by Hank McCoy, Beast, Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, Namor, the Submariner of Atlantis, and Black Bolt.
And he's an Inhuman, right?
Of the Inhumans, yes. The king of the Inhumans. Yeah. One of the Illuminati is also Captain America, but I want to say in the 5th or 6th issue of the New Avengers comic series that came out in 2012, incursions start to come to Earth, which is pretty much one universe starting to coexist with the other, and the universes start to cross over, and Captain America, having probably the most pure heart
and sense of reality
and pure intentions, wields the Infinity Gauntlet to end the incursion, and he ends one of them, but he doesn't like the outcome. He didn't like the cost. Oh, another one of the Infinity members is Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about him. Sorry. So
he's just stretchy and smart. It's all good.
to end the incursion, pretty much Captain America uses the Infinity Gauntlet to destroy the other universe, and destroying the other universe, he is killing billions upon billions of innocent souls, because he's not just destroying that Earth of the other universe, he's wiping out the entire existence of the other universe. And his sense of right and wrong tells him he can't do it.
Yeah.
So they beat him and wipe his memory and send him on his merry way. Because yes, they love Captain America, but they need to do this, and since Captain America won't do it because of the cost, he is useless, so to say.
Yeah. So, is the first Hulk still intertwined with the Hulk we know from the Avengers and all that stuff? Is that still the same?
The one that came out in 2003?
No, one that's called Hulk.
Yeah,
Which I'll say the only things they got right in that movie, for me anyways, like when it comes to Hulk's abilities and powers, would be, because they don't show it in the other movies,
The
how
angrier he gets, the bigger
and stronger he gets. Yeah, they don't really ever show him get stronger. In
they
the other ones.
They do showcase that throughout the movie, how his size grows and his girth gets a little wider, and that's one of the things I did like. But all in all, that movie was a good idea, but they took a really poor approach to it.
Yeah, they could have had any other villain
and really,
ever to be the villain.
It wasn't so much the villain for me as much as we didn't get to see the Hulk until the last part of the movie.
Yeah, that's...
You wait this entire time to see the hero you're there to see the character that your dad grew up reading, your grandpa grew up reading, and that because of that you've grown up reading or hearing about, and you don't get to see him until the last act of the movie, and that to me was just incredibly disappointing.
I did like when they showed they showed how fast he could run.
Yes,
that's something
that was,
and then how he can leap great distances. They don't really show that in the other.
And to
Incredible Hulk or Avengers.
To be fair to those, though, he was very restricted. In the Incredible Hulk, his main fight took place in Harlem, a very enclosed place in New York City. And he was fighting a monster his size. The Abomination isn't going to be something that's...
An Abomination... He doesn't have the same, though one ability he doesn't have the same as the Hulk is when Abomination gets angry, he doesn't get stronger.
He's just consistently stronger on his own because of the amount of radiation that was used to create him.
Yeah, it's like when Hulk, let's say when Bruce Banner first turns into Hulk, Abomination is stronger than that version of Hulk. But Hulk gets angrier and angrier and stronger, and then eventually Hulk will overcome Abomination in every comic series.
There's a fun little teaser in the Incredible Hulk. I don't know if you noticed it. It took me, because the first time I saw the Incredible Hulk, I didn't really catch it because I didn't know a whole lot about the Hulk at the time.
I might know what you're talking about.
But when Emil Blonsky first becomes the Abomination towards the end of the movie, his change knocks over the Doctor, and he cuts his head and gets gamma radiation into it, that fluid into it, and his head starts to grow. Yeah, and that is teasing at the Leader.
Yeah,
which
I'm still excited for, because Leader was arch nemesis of.
Not at all super strong, but his brain certainly overcompensates for that.
Yeah, and he's he's kind of a crazy guy. He's kind of crazy.
Yes.
And his only mission is to destroy the Hulk. That's all he wants to do.
There was also an alternate opening for the Incredible Hulk where you see him when he's talking about in the Avengers, when Bruce is talking about how he got low and put a gun in his mouth. There's an alternate opening to the Incredible Hulk that he is actually walking in, the snow and the ice in the northern part of Canada somewhere. And he puts the gun in his mouth, and it shows him turning into the Hulk to stop it, and he breaks up the ice and everything like that. And if you still frame it and go frame by frame very slowly, you can see Captain America frozen in the ice.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. But as far as Hulk being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I have a lot of belief toward it being that way, simply because if you watch The Incredible Hulk, the start of it, he is in South America. He has already become the Hulk. He already is the Hulk. They didn't write an origin for it. And it made a reference to one of the events in Hulk. I can't remember which one it was or where it is, so I'm sorry about that. But it made reference to one of them. And it's not I wouldn't call it a direct sequel, but it is certainly a follow-up.
Yeah.
So I would include that being unintentionally part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I kind of want to talk about Avengers 2: Age of Ultron.
Absolutely.
Good old. So I wanna know if you're thinking the same way I am. So from the trailer, it looks like Ultron gets Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver to help him. For a little bit at least, is my guess.
Which doesn't go against comic book lore.
Yeah, which is fine with me. As long as they
and it sets up a very great origin story for them too, since they're not going to get their own real origin story in the movies.
But my question is, they are right now, like we noticed at the end of the Captain America 2. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the end credits of Winter Soldier. We see that Hydra has Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Strucker has both of them.
So my question is, do you think Ultron's going to attack Hydra to get them?
I think...
Which I think would be really cool if they put that in the movie.
I think it'll be a byproduct somehow. Mm-hmm. Before Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver became Avengers, they were enemies to the Avengers, much like the Vision was, and it took quite a bit to, say, hey, you guys are heroes. The Avengers don't always have the best history with the people that eventually become some of the greatest Avengers. For instance, Vision was created by Ultron to infiltrate the Avengers and kill all of them, but after a fight with them, he realized that the Avengers were the good guys.
Yeah.
And to this day is probably one of the greatest Avengers that's ever been on the roster.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited to see him being introduced into the film.
I am incredibly
and then it's going to really help them, fighting Thanos.
Yes, and honestly,
help them fighting Ultron too.
I have a huge theory that the Vision is going to be how they defeat Ultron, simply because of his phasing ability.
Yeah, exactly.
And his entire body is an alloy of adamantium and vibranium, which is the same thing that Cap's shield is made out of. Mm-hmm. So nothing's going to really be able to break through that because it's vibration resistant through the vibranium, and the adamantium alloy is just... we've seen time and time again with Wolverine.
The only thing that can... adamantium's virtually indestructible. Once it's hardened, it's not going to break.
Yeah.
We did see, though, in the origins of Wolverine, whenever his adamantium claws were superheated, that he did cut off Deadpool's head, and he was supposed to have adamantium in him, and his exoskeleton. Well, his skeleton is covered in adamantium, so that hints that maybe superheated adamantium can cut through other adamantium.
And
doesn't really say it'll break it, but it will.
And if we look back to the Civil War story in 2006, that was written, one of the greatest comic book stories ever created, I might say. In book 7, at the last fight, Cap goes up against Iron Man, and you wouldn't imagine that Cap would be able to do that simply because he doesn't have the suit. He doesn't have the Iron Man suit. The last time they had fought each other, Iron Man, beat the hell out of him, quite literally. So, to give himself a fighting chance against Iron Man, Vision came down, stuck his hand through the Iron Man suit, and screwed it all up. So he compromised the suit for Captain America to win the fight, which Captain America, being the noble man he is, gave up the fight because he realized that his side of it was wrong.
What are the sides in the Civil War? I wasn't sure who was on whose side.
In the Civil War, you're pretty much going to see a division between Captain America and Iron Man. There's going to be pro-registration, anti-registration, which pretty much means we want you to let everyone know you're a superhero, who you are. It's pretty much a public background check as to who you are as a superhero, where you come from, who your family is. And then there is, and that's Iron Man's side, and then there's Captain America's side, and it is saying no. That is, first off, a breach of privacy. Second, you're going to endanger countless of innocent lives doing that.
I like Captain America's view on it a little bit better.
I certainly stand with Captain America, and one of the craziest things that they did in the Civil War story, which was the biggest shock to anybody, when you think of anti-registration with superheroes, superheroes that keep their identity, who's one of the first superheroes that pops into mind?
Spider-Man. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that happened in the Civil War story was in, I want to say, book 2, Spider-Man takes off his mask in front of everybody on the news, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Peter Parker."
Yeah, which had to surprise Flash Thompson a little bit.
Which is one of the, and that right there is, I would say that to me, as an avid comic book fan and Star Wars fan, I think that reveal is bigger than Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
That one took me a little more back.
So did he do it because Iron Man was saying people need to know who you are?
Spider-Man did it on his own free will.
Okay, then I don't have a problem with it.
He did it on his own free will. I imagine that he was prompted a little bit.
By Iron Man.
But later on...
Who's on Iron Man's side?
On Iron Man's side? Oh, goodness.
Because everybody's going to know who the Hulk is, probably.
The Hulk actually doesn't play a part.
He doesn't play a part. I figured he probably didn't since he's the Hulk.
He doesn't play a part. Two of the biggest key factors on the Pro-Registration Act, of course, Iron Man, but aside from that are Reed Richards and Hank Pym. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. is on Iron Man's side. Captain America, he is fortunate enough to have Vision join his side. Black Panther was on his side in the comic books. At the back half of the story, Spider-Man was with him. Punisher, Miss Marvel.
Well, is Thor on any particular side?
Thor? Thor's a little tricky because Thor is in Asgard. Thor is not a part of the Civil War. But to kind of fool the Anti-Registration Act, to fool that side of the fight, Hank Pym and Tony created an android they called Ragnarok, which in Norse mythology is pretty much the end of everything.
Yeah.
But they created this android to look like Thor, to talk like Thor, and to act like Thor, and it backfired on them hugely because Ragnarok ended up killing Goliath, which is a fairly old and respected comic book character. So his death was a little heartbreaking, depending on how long you've read comic books and how well you know them. And at the end of the story, Ragnarok is again in the fight, and Hercules, which is, yes, a Marvel character, goes in to fight with him, and he takes the hammer and he says, "You are not Thor. I know the Odin son very well. He is my friend." And he bashes his head in, and it's great. But
does Hercules hold his own pretty well in the comic books and stuff?
Hercules, yes.
Very strong.
Yes, Hercules is like Thor. He can duke up to Hulk and have fun and play around there.
Yeah, exactly.
We were totally got off topic there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get off on a lot of tangents because it's Marvel. There's so many. There's like 5,000 characters in our roster.
Everything relates to one another, and there's always something moving, which is something that I absolutely love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is everything is connected. Everything has a reason. You're never gonna see something that happens in one of the movies and it not have a place or a purpose. For instance, Bucky coming back as the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
First off, that is comic book canon. That is completely accurate. But for those of you who don't know, Sebastian Stan, the actor for Bucky Barnes, is slated for another 9 Marvel films. while Chris Evans is only slated for 2 more after the Avengers Age of Ultron. And in the comic books, for those of you who don't know, spoiler alert, possible spoiler alert, I would say, for Captain America Civil War, there was a comic book that was written, and it's been re-released with different covers, and I have one of the re-released versions of it. But after the Civil War, going to his trial, Captain America is assassinated by crossbones. He is killed. And the person that takes up the mantle, that takes the shield, is Bucky. It is Bucky Barnes who becomes Captain America afterward. So, knowing that Sebastian Stan is slated for another 9 films and Chris Evans is only slated for 2 more, you can probably be guaranteed that we will see a different Captain America very, very soon.
And you said after Age of Ultron, he only has 2 more left?
After Age of Ultron,
okay.
After Age of Ultron, he has 2 more,
okay.
And which will for sure be Captain America: Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, since Infinity War is going to be split into 2 parts, I don't know if his contract will recognize that as one movie split into 2, or if just one of them counts as a movie. But to be quite honest, my prediction is more of he's going to be in the Black Panther movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so he could either be in both Infinity Wars or Black Panther.
And Chris Evans could be a case like Robert Downey Jr. I don't think he will be, because he's young enough that he has the options. He's publicly stated that after his time as Captain America, he wants to go into directing. And Robert Downey Jr. has said that after this one, after Age of Ultron, he was going to be done. And before he signed on for Captain America Civil War, my biggest belief ever was Tony Stark was going to die in Age of Ultron. And he wasn't going to be in a majority of the movie. Opening act, and then Ultron comes in and kills him, and that's what sets into motion everything that would follow.
Yeah.
But we know that won't happen now.
Also, from the looks of the trailers of Avengers 2, it looks like we're going to see a little bit of the Savage Hulk, which is personally my favorite Hulk.
Yes.
The one where he just wants to fight anything in his path. Wants to destroy everything.
And that's a great way to go, especially with Ultron, because he's already...
So Ultron's going to cause the Savage Hulk, is my thinking.
I don't think Ultron will. I think Scarlet Witch will, simply because she has a history of getting into people's minds and showing...
So, something I've noticed, like, this is another tangent, but the cartoons that they have of the Avengers and stuff like that, they like to show, the team getting... mind control or hypnotized, and it's up to one member who has to. That is a
very common thing, especially with the Scarlet Witch.
But the one thing that makes me mad about that is that Captain America is always one of them that's mind controlled or hypnotized. When in the comics, I know for sure in one of them that it says that an unplanned part of the super soldier serum made it to where his mind could not be mind controlled. That was in one of them. There's other reimaginings also.
I would definitely need to look into that one more.
Because but that's one that I read, because I have a Marvel book of all the heroes and villains that has a list of all their powers and abilities, which is somewhere in here, I think, but it has. That's where I read it, that he cannot be mind controlled or hypnotized.
That honestly wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. And he's also, out of everybody in the Marvel Universe, has the greatest sense of reality out of all the heroes and everything. Like, even, I think a close second is like Doctor Strange.
I would say Doctor Strange.
Iron Man is pretty low on the list because he's just really smart.
As he says in Iron Man 3, he's just a man in a can.
Yeah. So.
But due to the fact that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver will be not friendly, at least for the first part of the movie.
They're eventually probably going to join the Avengers since they are on the they have their own Avengers poster now.
Yes.
So that kind of hints that they are going to be Avengers.
today, I was happy to find on Facebook that they finally released the Ultron character poster, and that is now the background on my phone. For those of you out there, Ultron is my favorite comic book character. More than Captain America, Iron Man, Vision. Ultron is my favorite, and I know that's probably one of the weirder villains to be a favorite. With Venom is super popular amongst children and teenagers. Carnage is pretty popular.
My favorite is definitely the Hulk. That is, I like the Hulk a lot. Whenever it comes to comic book character, and he's not really classified as hero or villain, so I also have a favorite hero and a favorite villain, which my favorite hero is Spider-Man.
And
my favorite villain, it's switched off and on, but it's really hard to decide usually who my favorite villain is. But it's...
I'm about to go off on another tangent here, but I was at Vintage Stock the other day, and I found this cool keychain of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought that,
I honestly can't think of who my favorite villain would be. It's probably... I don't know, who... what's the group of, like, Hyperion and all those other villains? Can't think of their group, but they're all from a different planet. They're all from another planet. Hyperion's basically Marvel's version of Superman, only he's evil.
Hyperion actually, he's a good guy now.
No, they switched him over to good guy.
Yeah,
Well, he was only a villain because he was under someone else's command, which was Blackhawk. Is that his name? I think it's Blackhawk.
That one wouldn't surprise me.
Blackhawk, because he was the leader of their little group of people, and he's a bad douche. But I don't know. I like that group of villains, but they're not my favorite. They always come to mind when I try to think of who my favorite is. But if I had to choose, it's probably Apocalypse or Thanos as my favorite. One of those two. One of those two. It's probably my favorite. Or Magneto. Magneto's a good choice.
What I love about Ultron is one of the things I actually love about Magneto is he's a bad guy for a good way. He his heart's in the right place, so to say. When Hank Pym built Ultron, it was depending on what you read. My favorite backstory for Ultron is from the cartoon series Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which regrettably ended when Disney bought Marvel because it was on Cartoon Network. And fantastic! One of my I don't watch a lot of cartoon shows, but that one was incredible. Very well done. And that one's my favorite backstory for Ultron. And in that backstory, he was built as a peacekeeping robot with thousands of drones to keep watch over a supervillain prison, the Big House, which, despite its name, is actually really small. Hank Pym developed it and shrunk it all down with the Pym particles. And Ultron is used to watch over that and keep everybody in check. And when Kang the Conqueror comes to kill Captain America because he is the man out of time, they realize they can't win, so they use Ultron. Hank takes his hardware and switches it over to be aggressive. And because of Ultron's help, they beat Kang. And then because Ultron now knows what violence is, he has become even more powerful.
Yeah.
And because of his new knowledge, he becomes very self-aware.
Yeah, this is when he really becomes a sentient.
When he reaches sentience, when he realizes his objective to keep watch and protect can only be achieved with the extinction of the human race, because if you look at it, we are the Earth's greatest threat.
Yeah.
We are our own enemy because we kill each other. We are.
Yeah.
You don't see another race of anything another species of anything on the planet.
When you look at it, Ultron's heart is in the right place, but also not in the right place at the same time.
I think
it's in two different places at the same time. It's like he knows what he's supposed to do, he just goes about it in the wrong way.
Yes.
In a way that the heroes don't.
Either that
don't kill everybody.
Either that or much like Thanos, he's got a giant robotic heart on from Mother Nature.
Very true. I don't know. Here's another tangent. I watched they have Avengers Assemble now. It's on
Yes, I haven't had a chance to watch that.
I watched it where, do you know who, Arsenal is? A robot that Howard Stark built.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to, like, absorb energy. He transports it into, I don't know if it's another dimension or like a negative zone or something. But then he can take that, he can pull that energy back out and use it as a weapon. But his main objective is to be Tony's best friend. and that's pretty right for the comic books too, because Arsenal is also in that book, and that's what it says there too. But in this Avengers Assemble cartoon, Arsenal is the key to defeating Thanos with the Infinity Stones.
Okay.
Because he could absorb the energy he was using, and was able to absorb.
I have a friend who's he keeps track of that show. He doesn't watch it because he doesn't have cable.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me the other day when I went into work, he said, "Guess what? Disney's doing the Infinity War." I was like, "What?" Yeah, they're doing the Infinity War. I was like, "Yeah, the movies come out in 2018 and 19." He goes, "No, the cartoon."
The very end episode of this new season introduced Ultron.
Ooh.
Right after Thanos.
That's a tough swing. That's a tough one.
Ooh, but
that's a tough roster.
He's going to be more dangerous than Thanos in this, from what happened. But anyways, it shows like how they beat Thanos, because Thanos also has a very big ego.
Yes.
He has a huge ego. His ego is bigger than Ego the Living Planet's ego. If you don't know who Ego the Living Planet is, it's okay.
He's literally a
He's literally
He's got a mouth and a beard and everything.
It's just a little tiny planet instead of an actual size planet. It's just a little tiny rock that has a brain inside of a gigantic planet that likes to just cause problems. But in the comic books, the Avengers actually save him from Galactus.
That's another character I'd like to see done well.
Galactus, yeah, because Fantastic Four, sorry, a little short tangent here. Fantastic Four, second one, Silver Surfer, that was the worst representation of Galactus.
Yes.
It's like Galactus is a space god, okay? he's not like a huge gigantic cloud that absorbs the planet. Basically, he eats it, and he's just
like an apple.
Yeah, he eats it. And he doesn't just have one herald.
Yes, actually, that's right. He cycles. He's got
a lot of heralds, and
he goes through at least 5 that I know of.
And in the comic series, I watched him bring all 4 of his heralds at once to Earth, because Silver Surfer kind of breaks off from that.
Yeah, and there's there's Terrax.
And somehow gets to keep his abilities.
There's Terrax, Firelord, Stardust, and what was the other one? There's a 4th one that isn't the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I can't remember that one.
I can't either.
But anyways, they beat Thanos because he's getting ready to just destroy all the Avengers real quick and easy. And Captain America is the one who's like, "I bet you can't beat us with just one stone." And Thanos' ego is like, whatever, I'm gonna get him with one stone. First one he uses is the Time Stone, which the Time Stone, it vaporizes basically all of them. It takes a while to get Hulk, but it gets Hulk. But the last one left is Thor, and he's using it, and all it's doing is making Thor look a little bit older. It's not actually making him go
because
away.
Because of the way he ages.
Because he's Asgardian. And Thor just laughs, and he's like, don't you know that Asgardians only get stronger as they get older? And he grabs his hammer, flies really fast at Thanos' head, and knocks him down, and the stone hits the ground, and everything goes back to normal. Then he uses another stone. He uses the Mind Stone, and makes them all angry. And they all start fighting each other. And then Hulk breaks them all up, and he's like, now you guys know what it's basically like to be me all the time. and Captain America's like, he's like, then how do you control it? He's like, I don't. I just aim it. And they all aim it at Thanos, and everything, they all calm down. And then he uses the Space Stone, where he's basically teleporting and getting them all from behind. And Black Widow figures out his pattern really fast and tells Hawkeye basically what it is. And every time he pops up again, Hawkeye hits him with an explosive arrow.
There's a pretty little arrow for him.
Right in the face. Every time, right in the face. And even if he tries to crouch, it's right in the face again. Every time.
And you'd almost think, because Thanos isn't a dummy. He's from Titan. He is a genius. Like
very smart guy.
But his ego, like you said, gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd think almost after being beaten.
And then
twice that.
After that, he doesn't try the Space Stone anymore because he can't, because he's got an explosive arrow in his face.
Maybe put the gauntlet on.
Yeah. He was using the gauntlet. He was just using one stone at a time. And then he decided to use the Reality Stone, and it was like he made it look like they beat him, and he was chained. They were going to put him in maximum security on the helicarrier, and Nick Fury's he's like AIM is actually helping with some of the cleanup from what Thanos has done, and Hydra is also helping with they're setting up health camps for people. And then,
I would love to see AIM done better.
Yeah.
I liked Iron Man 3, but I don't like the way they portrayed AIM.
And when that shows, Captain America's like, what about Red Skull? And Nick Fury's like, he actually turned himself in. And Captain America just looks at him for a little bit, and he's like, guys, it's a trick. Thanos is using the Reality Stone. And they're like, what? And he's like, everybody on me were attacking Thanos. And Thanos is like, you can't attack an unarmed man because he's in chains and stuff. But they do, and it shows that it was Thanos using the Reality Stone, because Captain America has a sense of reality and knew that would never happen. And then lastly, he uses the Power Stone and destroys Iron Man. You think it's Iron Man, but really it's just a suit of armor there. He was back at Stark Tower getting Arsenal ready, because Arsenal was destroyed, and he rebuilt him. And that's when Thanos brings Stark Tower onto their little platform he made that's in the atmosphere above the city. And Arsenal wakes up. He's like, hi, Tony. Ask him if he wants to play catch or something like that. And then he's like, can you take care of Thanos for me? And he's like, no problem. But he's using all 5 of the stones and shooting the beam at, and Arsenal's just absorbing it. And then he takes the gauntlet off of him and everything. And then they beat Thanos, no problem, beat the crap out of him. And after that, Iron Man reaches out his hand to act like, he's like, here, give me the gauntlet, because it's like this was the plan. Your mission's over, and Arsenal kind of backs up with it in his hand still. And he's like, oh no, Tony, I can't do that. I can't give it to you. And he's like, you were our last line of defense. What are you doing? And he's like, then his armor starts to change, and it's Ultron. And Ultron had infiltrated the system and uploaded himself into Arsenal to take over. And then he absorbs the Infinity Gauntlet and all the stones, and then flies off.
Oh, wow.
So that was the end, and that's the new season is going to be dealing with Ultron, who has the power of only Infinity Stones.
Oh, and Ultron doesn't have an ego.
As he flies away, he's like, Earth is going to be destroyed, and flies away. It's like, oh crap.
Oh, yeah. Ultron doesn't have much of an ego. It's one of his.
Yeah, I really can't wait for Avengers 2. That's gonna be great.
May 1st is gonna be.
And they're also doing making an Inhumans movie, right?
Yes, that's gonna come out in between the two Infinity War movies.
Okay, have you watched the newest 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything?
Yes. Yes, that was.
I think what they're going at there, I think they're trying to connect the Inhumans through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
That's my belief, anyways.
Well, it was already confirmed that the Diviner, the inside of the Diviner, was a Terrigen crystal, and those were the Terrigen mists that were released. So Lena and Skye both are Inhumans, and Skye, if you use her birth name that her father stated in earlier this season, Daisy, is an actual comic book character. Her Inhuman name is Quake. And she served as a high, I want to say the director for a short period of time, but don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I've read her encyclopedia, her encyclopedia blurb. But she serves as a high-ranking officer inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Skye is definitely an Inhuman. Raina's definitely an Inhuman. And then Skye's father is a true enough Marvel character as well. His character is Mr. Hyde. And
I don't know. Reason I'm ready for the Inhumans movie is because of Black Bolt.
Big Black Bolt fan.
He's one of the most powerful Marvel characters ever.
I love that.
He's the one with the voice that just saying anything can destroy
just a whisper
half of New York.
He is the silent king.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say much.
And that actually plays a rather big part in the Infinity Story from 2013, because Thanos goes into Attilan, which is the home city of the Inhumans. It floats over New York City in the comic books. Thanos goes and meets the Council of Black Bolt and insults him. And Black Bolt's wife Medusa does all the talking for him.
And Black Bolt doesn't get easily offended.
And that comes at a lot of scrutiny to Black Bolt and Medusa both, because not everybody believes that what Medusa is saying is always what Black Bolt wants, but Black Bolt can't say.
Mm-hmm. He could shake his head no.
But Thanos goes and insults Black Bolt, and Medusa tells him, what good is a king who is silent? What good is a king whose wife speaks for him? You're nothing, stuff like that. And Black Bolt steps off of his throne, looks at Thanos with this look, and Thanos gets that famous smile on his face, because he's like, oh, you're Black Bolt. You're not going to do anything. You can't do anything. If you do something, you'll destroy your entire city. And Black Bolt just lets out this scream. And that was the ending of the book, was just this boisterous boom coming from his mouth. And it immediately opens, the next comic book immediately opens with Attilan, crumbled on the ground of New York City, in ruin. And Black Bolt rises from amongst, the debris. And Thanos is still perplexed, like, oh my god, why? What happened? But that was just, it was a really, really, really great surprise there.
There was one in the same cartoon, earlier on in that season. I think it was that season, it might have been the first season, but they went to the home of the Inhumans, the Avengers did, to help them with a little problem there. Maybe it wasn't the Avengers, maybe it was Hulk and the Agents of Smash, I don't know. I think it was Hulk and the Agents of Smash because of what Black Bolt said. The guy who's in charge, he's not in charge of the city, he's in charge of the technology in the city. It makes all their defenses and weapons and stuff. Can't remember his name.
Is it Karnak?
Something like I think it might be Karnak. But after the Hulk and Agents of Smash leave, he puts the shield back over and he's not letting the Inhumans out because he doesn't want any outsiders there. And he's going to keep them trapped, and he's trying to take over the city, basically. But that only lasts like 10 seconds because Black Bolt just says smash. Just says it like a normal person would. And the entire dome breaks. And it was supposed to be an indestructible dome. The Hulk's going to get past it. He just said smash, and it blew up into trillions of pieces because he's got a very strong voice, and I'm excited for an Inhumans movie.
I'm really excited to see who plays Black Bolt. There's a lot of speculation that I've read in a lot of websites that Vin Diesel is who they want to play Black Bolt. But he's already Groot, which, I mean, and they could honestly do it since Groot is a CGI character, and all he says is, I am Groot, and since Black Bolt doesn't talk except to, screw somebody up, I could see where they would do it, but I honestly wouldn't want to see it.
Well, the old Fantastic Four movies, Chris Evans played
Human Torch, yeah.
And now he's Captain America, which I'd say an upgrade.
Yes, definitely a change in ego amongst the two characters.
Yeah, it went from kind of a jackwagon to a good old to one of the coolest guys in comic book history.
Definitely a true American.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, if your superhero name is Captain America, you better be a little patriotic.
Yeah, and he is very patriotic. But he's still nice to other countries too, which is how America should be. We should just be nice to everybody and stay out of everybody's business because that causes a lot of problems.
I saw this one picture. It's from the Captain America: The First Avenger movie. It was the poster where he's standing and he's got the shield down in front of him, and it was painted green and red, and it said Captain Jamaica, and somebody had photoshopped Bob Marley's head on it. It's pretty funny. I liked that.
Who do you want to see be the next Spider-Man?
Who would I want to see be the next Iron Man?
Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man?
Because Andrew Garfield's not going to be...
Yeah, it's not going to be Andy Garfield.
Not going to be him.
Unfortunately, I really liked Andy.
I liked him as Spider-Man. It was better than the wimpy, whiny version of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. And Andrew Garfield was very good as it, but Spider-Man, they don't give him enough credit. Spider-Man is supposed to be way more sarcastic and way more teenagery.
And I was very happy with the amount of sarcasm and sass that they gave Andy Garfield as Spider-Man, but it certainly could have been a whole lot more.
He's a lot more and funnier too, because that's how Spider-Man is.
One of my favorite lines from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was, on behalf of the people of New York City and real rhinos everywhere. That cracked me up a little bit because I had just been crying a whole lot. I won't lie to you guys, The Amazing Spider-Man 2...
what I want to see is them make the Spider-Man movies where, because in the comic books he meets Mary Jane in college.
Yes.
And gets married to her eventually, has a daughter with her, and then Venom and Carnage attack Peter Parker, and he's not Spider-Man. He's still Spider-Man, but he's not in the costume. He's just with Mary Jane and his daughter in the mall, and they're attacked by Venom and Carnage. Venom is fighting him while Carnage kills Mary Jane and his daughter.
Yeah.
And that's when Spider-Man goes a little bit crazy and starts killing bad guys.
Carnage has always been one of my favorite villains simply because...
Hello? Recording a podcast with Nate. Yeah.
This is highly unprofessional.
Sorry, I had you on speaker and I didn't understand a word of that. What did you say? Yeah, probably not, unless you want to. I mean, I don't care. Well, who'd you say you're with? Oh, you're walking around with them? Oh, what do they want to do? Oh, you guys want me to walk around with you? Well, I can do that later. In a little bit, actually. I mean, I don't think the podcast is going to be too long. Well, it might be because...
we're already working on an hour.
We're already at an hour and 30 seconds. But, Okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, see you later, bud.
Bye, Tubes.
Yeah. Love you, bye. No offense, but that's my best friend right there. He's a great friend, by the way. He's just older than me, so we didn't get to hang out as much, I guess. So
He always says I'm
that's
not
why.
his best friend because I haven't showed him my penis. Just kidding.
The only reason I've seen Austin is because of PE, okay?
You're not a real friend until you've seen their penis.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a single friend in the world.
Well, if that's true, then Chad's one of my greatest friends. No, I'm just kidding. I love Chad. He's awesome. No, actually, I feel bad about whenever I was in elementary. When you're kids, you are vicious little jackwagons who just follow the flow because other people are being mean to him. So I wasn't like super mean to him, but I'd be like, Chad, you're getting annoying. Yeah.
If you're in high school right now, be careful who you're mean to, simply because you never know if that person's going to be your boss. You never know if that person's going to be, a workmate one day. Could be your wife, if you're into it. They could, your husband. We live in a confluent, high time society. So I mean, they could be your partner outside of marriage. Schwarzenegger had a mistress. You can too. I mean.
Yeah. Throughout high school, Chad got way better. In the sense that he wasn't trying to annoy anybody.
He was trying to annoy me. There were times that I wanted to.
Well, I guess my class. He wasn't trying to annoy anybody in our class. Well, the girls, he was very good at annoying them. But he was the only person who ever said hi to me every morning. So, and I like that. I was like, hey.
A good hello in the morning can keep a person from, killing themselves.
Yeah,
countless others.
I wasn't going to kill myself, but it felt good to say hi. Like, hey, what's going on, man?
That's why I said hello every morning. I said hello to.
I didn't see you every morning, or you would have said.
I would have. I'm a very friendly person.
Yeah. See, he said hi to me most mornings when he saw me.
What's his name? The crap.
Was he in your class?
No, he was
really young.
Yeah.
What, Junior?
Junior. That's why I said hello to Junior every day.
I see him at Walmart quite a bit. He sees me and he's like, "Hey, Dyson."
I say hello to Junior every time I see him because I never know when I'll be in a convenience store with him and he decides to shoot the place up. And if that hello is the only thing that keeps me from getting shot.
A lot of people thought that about Aaron Blake. I actually liked Aaron Blake.
Aaron was fun.
Aaron was very fun. I liked him very. We were wanting to do a video series actually, me and him, where I challenged him to something, and I was recording it, and he'd do it, and we were going to call it Crazy Blake.
There was a time.
And it was going to be awesome, but we never got around to it because he was always grounded or something.
Have you ever seen Impractical Jokers?
Yeah.
There was a time that I wanted to get my friends together at Oklahoma State and do that. And if I could do it now, I would. I just don't know where to go around here to do something like that.
And I want to say some more stuff about Marvel. Marvel is great because, well, they have basically every famous superhero besides Batman and Superman, and I guess you could argue that Flash is pretty popular. Green Arrow is kind of popular.
Martian Manhunter's definitely popular, but if you ask David S. Goyer, and if you're watching this, David Goyer, I'm sorry if you're 12 or something, but fuck you, David Goyer. You don't get to willy-nilly insult me as a comic book reader and think that I won't get insulted by it. Saying that She-Hulk is just meant to be a sex item for Hulk is completely ridiculous.
Considering their cousins also.
Considering their cousins, first
That's
off.
kind of messed up, dude. Grew up in Arkansas.
So I really don't appreciate what you said. I want to say it was last summer. He pretty much came out and said, She-Hulk was just a sex item for Hulk. That's all it was, He
had Betty Ross.
He had Betty Ross. Red She-Hulk. Get it right. And then to go off and say that people who know characters like Martian Manhunter are all virgins. is also incredibly stupid because my father knows who Martian Manhunter is, and I'm living proof that he scored at least once. So, to David Goyer, fuck you, sir. I hate you, and your crappy writing for that shitty Man of Steel movie was awful. I mean, I call it shitty, so clearly you know I don't like it. I already don't like Superman, but did you have to go and make me like it even less?
I also have a book for DC characters with Marvel. It's not in this room; it's in my bedroom, but because I'm reading.
You should probably keep it in the garbage.
So the only reason is so I can compare and contrast Marvel and that other comic book series, the other comic book company, because Marvel is personally one of my favorites, and logically the better one. Just because, I mean, they have the most popular superhero, which is Spider-Man.
If you want to argue
He's
with
most popular.
If you want to argue with me that in one movie, and I'm talking about Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, the only reason
which I hope is good. Sorry, it's not Batman. It's Batfleck versus
Superman.
Batfleck because it's Ben Affleck. Which he'll probably make a better Batman than Daredevil, but
he'll make a better Batman than George Clooney with the nipple suit.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
But if you want to argue with me,
Arnold Schwarzenegger needs to play Mr. Freeze again.
If you want to argue with me that in one movie you will automatically be better than everything Marvel's ever produced,
Age of Ultron is going to be the best movie ever made. I'm sorry.
You're fucking high. If you think of Batman versus...
They're making a Deadpool movie.
They are. I'm excited for that.
Which Ryan Reynolds is going to be Deadpool, which is great.
I keep
That's
watching
the best character for him.
I keep watching that test footage that they released over the summer, and it's great.
Deadpool, that's going to be the best movie ever, actually.
That's probably going to be the funniest.
That's going to be the funniest Marvel movie, definitely.
And I hope they do it like they did with the test footage, and it's CGI.
I hope they do like they do with the video games, where they had 3 different voices, him, and then he has 2 voices in his head, and I hope those voices talk to him.
Holy shit.
Greg. It's just this part right here.
Oh god.
Yeah. Don't. It's not his fault. Don't laugh. Because it's happened to me too. And I'm like 130 pounds. You just gotta hook it back on there, or however it goes back on there.
God.
I don't know. It doesn't. Let's go grab him a different chair and try to fix it.
Wow.
And you can look at my shirt, check me out. Oh man, I crack myself up sometimes.
Oh my god.
Is it going back on there?
Oh, there's not a chance in hell it's going back on there.
Oh, it completely. Well, this one is an older one. We have more of these.
You don't have to try to make me feel better about my weight.
It's one of your friends. Well, and there's 2 different kinds of friends. One who laugh at you, and then
one who helps me back up.
One who helps you back up. And I did both, so there you go.
I'm just gonna sit here real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab another chair. Oh, is Talon back home?
I did hear your door open not too long ago.
Yeah, I thought I did too. I wasn't sure.
Oh, hey, look, there's 2 ball with 2 people.
Sally, Nate did not just break a chair.
There's 2 ball walking with, I guess 3 people. There's a baby person in the stroller.
Natasha, Aiden, and Caitlin? I think that's what he said.
I swear to God, if this one breaks.
That one's more sturdy, so you should be okay.
This is the one I should have taken from the start.
I guess, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
You didn't put my weight into...
I didn't add in your weight into the equation.
Yeah.
It's all
yes. I sit on a little high.
That is karma for talking about whoever you're talking about. I forget his name. No, I'm just kidding, because I would say the same stuff. Now my chair's gonna break.
Which would be more disappointing.
Yeah, that one would be like, because this is a good chair. I love this chair.
What were we talking about before the chair broke?
Oh, I was talking about the DC book that I have.
That's right. The piece of garbage.
I read about Superman. You know, his weakness. Everybody should know this. There's different colors of kryptonite. There's yellow, red, green, and blue. Red is the one that makes him evil for 24 hours, and it's the rarest, which you're going to see play in Batfleck versus Superman, which people argued over whose name should be first. Yes, Batman's name should be first because it's Batman. The only good character in the DC universe.
Now we can't forget that fifth color of kryptonite either, and it's the one Superman keeps in his back pocket at all times. It's the pink kryptonite, which makes him gay.
Yeah,
and that one stays firmly in his back pocket.
The green kryptonite's the one that weakens him and also can kill him just by being around it too long, or if it gets stuck in, and then he dead. But I read up what makes the kryptonite, which the radiated pieces of his home world.
Yes.
There's 3 different types of radiation in it. 85% of it is, and I can't wait to say it because it's going to make so many people mad, gamma radiation. And people always argue, who would win a fight, Hulk or Superman? Well, your answer is freaking Hulk because he's 100% freaking gamma radiation turned into super strong, kick your assness, okay? Because that's what it is. And then there's like 10% some kind of other radiation, 5% other. And those mixed together weaken him and can kill him. But the part that really can kill him is the gamma, while the other radiation weakens him by being too close. And then the longer he's around it, it kills him. So Superman being around Hulk wouldn't weaken him, but when Hulk hits him, it's gonna hurt.
He would definitely feel it along his crisp little jawline.
Yeah, it would. He'd feel it, and after a long enough fight, Hulk would eventually prevail. And then people who say that, they're like, well, there's Doomsday. It's like, well, Doomsday did successfully kill Superman.
Which is why I love Doomsday.
Yeah, and then Superman came back and defeated him, but Hulk would also beat Doomsday. Even though Doomsday is a genetically engineered monster from Krypton, so he's really strong. Something that I was also there's only one thing I'm disappointed about in Superman movies. They do need to introduce a good Brainiac.
That would be
villain.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
But the main villain, even though people think Superman's a villain in Batman versus Superman, the actual villain is Lex Luthor because he's the one who finds red kryptonite. And
there's speculation that Jason Momoa's Aquaman will be a villain for a bit of it too, and
which Aquaman is actually pretty BA, even though his
I'm not going to say this simply because I thoroughly dislike DC. I'm saying this from a completely unbiased point of view at this point. When they released the picture for Aquaman, I thought it looked incredibly stupid. Not because it's Aquaman again, but never have I ever seen Aquaman with black hair, black beard, and like tattoos all over his body.
He's not a pirate.
He looks like a pirate.
Yeah,
either that or some hobo junkie.
I was like, is this a picture out of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag? What am I watching right now? What am I seeing right now?
I love your giant fork.
Yeah. But that, you can't even call it a trident when it's that. It's like, no. And it's weird because both DC and Marvel have the mythology put in there, like Norse mythology. Yes. And then they also, but I don't know, does Marvel do any Roman? I know they have some Greek in there with Hercules and stuff. But I don't know if they do any Roman because DC does a Greek and Roman because they have Neptune, which is the Roman version, which is who Aquaman follows, and then there's Wonder Woman and the Amazons who follow Athena, which is the Greek version.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I saw that was weird, but I like that there's Norse mythology in Marvel because that's pretty cool, and Thor's pretty awesome.
Man, we just got off on another tangent too because I have an unfinished question.
Yeah.
You asked me earlier who I would like to see play Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
And then I don't know how we got off on that one. There are two.
We got mad at DC.
That's right. There are two people that I would be perfectly okay with playing Spider-Man at this point. One of them is Logan Lerman. On the topic of Greek mythology and stuff like that. That's Percy Jackson, the guy who plays Percy Jackson. Would love to see him play Spider-Man. I think that'd be a great choice. And then the other one, his name is Dylan. I can't remember his last name. He plays in Teen Wolf. That show on Fox or whatever, plays in that, and then he's also in the movie The Internship, which is a very funny movie, by the way. But one of those two, I would absolutely love to see them play Spider-Man. Perfect choices there. But as Marvel has come to surprise me with a lot of things that they do.
From the original 3 Spider-Man movies, I'll say this. They did a very good job of picking a Harry Osborn.
Yes, I absolutely love
James Franco.
James Franco was a very good...
That was great. They need to get his younger brother to get into the Marvel scene. That'd be great.
I would like to see... Yeah.
Was it Dave?
Yeah, David Franco.
David Franco, yeah. I actually think he's a better actor than James Franco.
James Franco's more of an artiste.
Yeah, while David is definitely a better actor and will probably have a longer career, I guess.
Speaking, I don't know why, but I guess talking about James Franco reminded me of the roast of James Franco on Comedy Central, which reminded me of the Justin Bieber roast that's coming up. Oh my God. I hate the fact that they're honoring Justin Bieber with the roast, but oh my God, they're going to roast Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
They're going to throw every joke at Justin Bieber that I've been thinking of since Justin Bieber was a 13-year-old girl in Canada. So what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't listen to it. His or her stuff.
One of my favorite jokes. One of my favorite jokes about Justin Bieber is, what's the difference between puberty and a water bottle?
I don't know.
Puberty hasn't hit Justin Bieber yet. That was one of my favorite ones back in high school.
I saw that one coming when you said water bottle. Because I watched the video where he gets hit right in the face by one. So I've also heard that the guy who plays Thomas in the Maze Runner.
Yes, that's I didn't see the Maze Runner, but I think I know who you're talking about.
He might. There's speculation that he might be the next Peter Parker Spider-Man. This is what I'm going to say. It better be Peter Parker Spider-Man in the next ones. I don't want to see no Miles Morales.
Yeah, I don't. And it's not that I don't like Miles Morales.
Yeah, I like him too, but I don't want to see him.
I've read the story. I like Miles, but Peter Parker. Peter Parker is the one that needs to be in the new Spider-Man, simply because of the Civil War.
Yeah, and they need to make him more teenagery. When he got his powers when he was like a sophomore.
I would
junior, something like
just
that.
For the sake of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would already have him matured in his powers a little bit. I'd make him
the ultimate Spider-Man, like he's training with S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what I want to see.
I would put him, in the college age bracket, and something like Ultimate Spider-Man would be perfect. Especially with the Netflix series coming out for Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. Sorry guys, I have the hiccups right now. Which those are going to be fantastic. Look forward to Daredevil coming out April 10th.
Yeah, also, one thing, there's only one thing I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was their portrayal of Nova. There's a superhero named Nova.
Yes.
That they need to have in the movies.
Well, I
really badly, because
I think keeping him out of Guardians of the Galaxy for that first run was good.
I hope they introduce him later on.
I definitely think they will, especially with Infinity War coming.
Because he's the superhero of that planet. He's like the only one. So. We did see the guy though that gives him his powers in the comic books. Roman Day, played by John C. Reilly. He is the one that gives Nova his powers later on. Which is the helmet, right?
It's the helmet, and he bestows the powers upon him. So that was a big tease towards Nova coming on later. But as we have already been confirmed by James Gunn and Joss Whedon and everyone else at Marvel, including Kevin Feige, Adam Warlock is awake. We see his cocoon at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. His cocoon is open, so Adam Warlock is awake. He will be joining our universe soon, which he's going to play a big part in the Infinity War movies to come.
And Guardians will also be part of the Infinity War movies.
Yes, I strongly believe that, because that's going to be a great way to introduce characters like Adam Warlock.
And the first part is going to be great when the Avengers and the Guardians fight each other. That's going to be great. I hope they show that in the movie.
Guardians 2 will be a great way to introduce Nova.
Yes.
We got confirmation a few days ago that another hero has been confirmed for Age of Ultron. It's Mantis, and she plays a big part with the Guardians, so that will help transition them over to the Infinity War story later on. And we're still missing confirmation for one more female superhero. But other than that, we have the entire roster of everybody, because Joss Whedon stated last year that there would be four female superheroes, and we have Black Widow, we have Scarlet Witch, and now Mantis, and we're just waiting on one more.
Which I'm not sure which one that's going to be.
I don't know who to expect either. I want to say it might be Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
I would really like to see that.
Because she has already been confirmed to be in the Jessica Jones Netflix series.
Oh.
Because her and Jessica Jones are great friends in the comic books. So Carol Danvers would be a wonderful addition. And with the confirmation of the Kree with Guardians of the Galaxy, with the Kree being part of the universe now.
And the Kree being part of what make the Inhumans.
Yeah, and the Kree.
Inhumans.
And with the Kree being very active inside of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show, it's not...
They want tomorrow.
It is not impossible for Carol Danvers to be introduced here.
And
not too
something
long.
I really want to see, which me and Hugh Jackman have the same want. They want to see
Wolverine Iron Man fight.
That and just the X-Men being part of that
And
universe.
there is a great way to do that, and
share profits. Make the movie together. Share profits.
Well, and there's a way to do that and still make the X-Men movies in a separate universe and include the X-Men in this universe. And it wouldn't be hard at all. Split profits, whenever they're together. But just for an X-Men outing or an Avengers outing, profits go to Disney, profits go to Fox. Yeah. But one of the things I would love to see, if they ever do try to introduce the X-Men, if they ever get the rights to share, I would love to see it introduced through Netflix. And it would be a very simple way to do it. You would establish it as a private school, Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters.
Yep. And all there's...
It is... And from the point that you introduce it in a Netflix series would be the perfect way. The way you introduce it there, it carries throughout the entire series till the ending of season 1. Mm-hmm. It plays as a front. They go, you establish the X-Men, you establish their villains, and then there's a big fight at the end of season 1 that's been building up all season, and the fight is very, very visible. And that's whenever all of society comes to the fruition. Oh, wow, there are mutants.
Yeah.
And it would also be incredibly easy to go back and explain Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, who are mutants in the comic books.
And get this, everybody, they're twins. Their dad is no other than Magneto himself, which that's why I really want to see them freaking combined, because that will clear up so much stuff. Especially with Scarlet Witch.
If the X-Men could ever be introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, doing it through a Netflix series would make that process so much easier.
Yeah.
Because, the Avengers could come in at the end of season 1 with cleanup and everything, help clean up, they arrest Magneto, whatever, and he sees the twins and he breaks down crying and he's got a smile on his face, whatever. And they're like, and then the twins look at him like, what are you doing, you crazy old man? And in season 2 or in the next movie, it could be revealed that Magneto is their father.
Yeah.
And it would be a great way to have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver play around in the universe.
Yeah, and another reason I want to see is especially Wolverine, is because Wolverine and Spider-Man working together is always very fun because Spider-Man is super sarcastic and Wolverine's just crazy.
Wolverine's just a dick.
And they go back and forth at each other even though they still love each other. They're bros. They just don't admit it.
To be quite honest, if that happens, I would like to see everybody recasted. From Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, all of them gone from... keep them over at Fox. Let them do their thing over at Fox. But for Marvel, let them recast everybody.
I can't think of anybody else who would be a good Wolverine. Honestly, it's just sometimes
somebody short and Canadian.
Yeah, that's the only thing about Hugh Jackman is that he's a little bit too tall to be James Howlett
and a little too Australian.
A little bit, but he does a good accent to where he doesn't sound Australian in the movies. So
a physical stature that I would like to see. Somebody built. I'm not going to say that this person needs to be Wolverine because I don't think they need to be, but somebody the same size as Kevin Hart.
Yeah,
just as short and just as muscular, maybe a little more muscular.
Because James Howlett is, I'm sorry, he's a white Canadian.
Very white Canadian.
Because guess what? He was born in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And if he was black, then he'd be a slave at the time, and that would just change a lot of the story. And
that would change a lot of his origin story.
It would be a lot different, and we just don't want to see a reimagining just this late.
Let's not get it confused. I don't want to say that a character shouldn't be recast as another race.
Luke Cage is one of my favorites.
Luke Cage is going to be a great one, and he's
the only thing that can pierce his skin is adamantium. That's a pretty
the
cool
actor that's playing Luke Cage is a very, very big black guy, and he's a good actor.
Good.
That's the way it should be. We sound horrible.
We're not racist. We want to see a Luke Cage movie because Luke Cage is awesome. He's an awesome black guy.
It would be like seeing the Iron Fist. He is a small.
He looks like a surfer dude, but he's really a monk kind of.
Yeah, he's a small, non-violent, unless he has to be white guy.
And he packs a punch with his Iron Fist that's on fire.
Now, Johnny Storm in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, the way that they're writing that, I can swing with it.
Yeah, they're making Johnny Storm black, which honestly I think would be pretty cool.
I wasn't happy with it at first, not because it's a black guy, but because...
And he just told me because Johnny Storm and Sue Storm are
I was worried how they would... I was worried how they were going to write it.
Yeah, and them being adopted, okay, makes sense.
I already don't have enough faith in what 20th Century Fox is going to do with the Fantastic Four, because they're already changing the origin story for Doctor Doom.
So the not so nerdy looking white guy is going to be the thing. Yeah. Because the nerdy glasses wearing white guys, obviously
the guy from the guy from the Divergent movie.
That's going to be Doctor Doom, right?
No, he's going to be Reed Richards.
He's going to be Reed Richards. I thought the guy with the glasses was going to be Reed Richards.
Yeah.
The guy from Divergent, he was standing there a while. The guy with the glasses was, and they need the thing they didn't do in the Fantastic Four movies is Doctor Doom. He's from his own country and
Latveria.
Latveria.
And they have completely changed that.
Yeah, it's like he needs to be. I mean, he was still roommates with Reed Richards in college.
Yes.
But he's also ruler of Latveria. He's a prince basically, dictator once he gets his powers. Which I'm always confused on what his powers really are. He's really smart. But does he have that electricity?
Yeah, he can.
Kind of stuff?
Miles Teller, that's who's going to be Reed Richards. This guy right there.
He's going to... Okay, so he is going to be
Reed Richards.
So who's going to be Dr. Doom?
Toby Kebbell.
Is that the guy with the glasses?
Maybe? I don't know. But the character's name isn't even Victor Von Doom in this movie. It's Victor...
I can't watch it.
Victor, probably Domashev. It looks like it.
It's like, he's Dr. Doom because his last name's Doom.
Yes.
He's Victor Von freaking Doom.
He's literally applying his PhD.
And he has a PhD. Yeah, that's what
he is. Yeah, Victor Domashev. That's going to be his name.
Which is a really good bad guy name and a really good name in general. Just
not for Victor Von Doom. And then Franklin Storm. That's going to be the father. I think I don't know who's playing him.
Yeah.
But Franklin Storm is actually the name.
I did like the look of the thing, though, how he was more
He did look
rocky.
a lot more rocky, but the cool thing about the thing from the other Fantastic Four movies was it was actually a bodysuit. They didn't use CGI. Everything you see the thing do in...
my thing about the Avengers 2, I noticed that it looks like Black Widow and Bruce Banner are starting to fall for each other.
They have a relationship forming, which I'm
kind of mad about because Betty Ross, dude. Come on, Betty Ross.
I don't really agree with that either because for Black Widow, there is Hawkeye. I mean, in the comic books, they have a kid together.
Yeah.
So I really hope that that's just...
Also, I want to see who Agent Carter marries, which I think is the guy who has a limp. In the Agent Carter TV series. The guy with the one little crutch.
Unfortunately, that was just an 8-part series, which is over now.
Well, they're making a season 2.
Are they?
Yes.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, they're going to make more because people want more, and it was
good. I enjoyed it.
I'm excited because I do want to see who she gets married to. She was in the first Captain America, right?
She was.
The second one?
Actually, both.
That's what I meant. The second one, the old one.
The old woman. The old Peggy is played by. It is played
by the same. Is it the same woman, or is it just made looking old? Yeah.
Same woman, and she is in a ton of prosthetics, a ton of makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of her name though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
This is embarrassing.
I'm not good with actors and actresses' names.
I'm usually spot on.
I just know it's like this person played that, and that's where I know that. Like Chris Evans is going to be Human Torch / Captain America. That's his name from now on. And Mark Ruffalo, I know who he is because he's.
It's right there on the tip of my tongue. I cannot get past this. And I'm not gonna look it up either.
Let's. Something else I didn't like about the new Spider-Man movies, when Gwen Stacy died. If that's a spoiler for you guys, then you should have watched the movie already. She was alive for a little bit longer than that in the comic books. Or did she ever die?
No, she did die.
She did die. That's what I thought. She was longer. She lived longer. Well, I thought she even got married to Harry Osborn.
No, she dies being tossed off of the George Washington Bridge in Spider-Man 181, and it happens a lot more abruptly in the comic book than it does in the movie. But that's just because in the movie they were trying to, they were trying to add in beautiful cinematography, by the way. The way the web comes out and reaches out, it looks like a hand. I absolutely loved that. Unfortunately, though, when I saw the first trailer, I knew what was going to happen. I knew her time was coming. But in the comic book, Spider-Man slings out his web, catches her, and it snaps her neck and just... That's it. That's it. He thinks that she's still alive whenever he pulls her back up, too, because she was unconscious at the time.
Yeah, so who's the one who threw her off the bridge?
The Green Goblin is the one that threw her off the bridge.
So it wasn't Hobgoblin?
No.
Yeah. Which was stupid because there's also New Goblin. That's what Harry was, I'm pretty sure, in the comics. Wasn't he New Goblin, then he was Hobgoblin?
Yes.
And that's what I thought. So you don't start with Hobgoblin.
well, movie-wise, this was the Green Goblin in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, not the Hobgoblin.
Yeah, I guess so. What I also want to see, because at the end of the Spider-Man 2, they kind of hinted at Sinister Six.
Yes, but unfortunately, because of Spider-Man going back home to Marvel,
we probably won't see
Sinister Six, the Venom movie, Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 are both
gone.
Currently in the toilet, yeah. Which is disappointing because, as you said, that Sinister Six is going to be a good one.
Yeah. There is a DC Universe movie I'm pretty excited for, though, and that's Suicide Squad.
That's going to be pretty decent.
Because Joker's going to be in it.
And
Jared Leto or Leto?
Jared Leto.
He is going to be playing the Joker, which I think will be a pretty good
If
film.
Jared Leto can win an Oscar for playing a transvestite with AIDS, he can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, but really, I just wish Heath Ledger was still alive because
Heath Ledger's Joker
was the best Joker.
And I should probably put this out there. I'm not a huge Batman fan at all. I'm pretty much.
Yeah, I'm more of a Joker fan.
I'm pretty much a Marvel purist. If DC has it, Marvel has it better.
They don't have a Joker, I'd have to argue. Joker's his own category.
Joker is his own category.
I couldn't say he was. Yeah, he's not crazy supervillain. He's not just ultra bad supervillain. He's the Joker. He's the Joker.
But to put that into perspective, Marvel or DC also doesn't have a Loki.
Very true. They don't have a Loki, and Loki's pretty awesome.
They're very good about keeping villains a little more original than their heroes are.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to admit there are a lot of Marvel characters that are taken from DC characters, such as Hawkeye. He's taken from the Green Arrow. But then there are others that are taken from DC that are taken from Marvel.
Yeah.
So it's not an uncommon trade-off. It's pretty common.
Like I'm pretty sure Quicksilver existed before the Flash.
I would need to look that one.
I think
he did.
They
Were pretty close together.
Yeah, they were really close together.
They came out the same year.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Quicksilver was first. Since that was prime mutant right time.
Deadpool is a complete spoof of
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, yeah. The names, Deadpool, Wade Wilson, Deathstroke is Slade Wilson. And that was just a bit of Marvel jackassery.
But Deadpool was way better. I'm sorry, but yeah, he is. I mean, Deathstroke has one eye. Sucks.
I do like his armor.
Can be a suit. Yeah, it's cool armor, but Deadpool has two voices in his head. He's freaking psychotic, and he's an awesome mercenary.
And he hates Jar Jar Binks.
There
was an issue of Deadpool where he was in this ship in outer space, with two AIM agents, and Deadpool makes a comment. This is just like Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon, and the AIM agent steering the ship goes, actually I prefer the newer trilogy with the CGI and everything like that, and then the paragraph cuts off because Deadpool panel by panel is pulling out a gun and he eventually shoots him. He points the gun at the other AIM agent and says, "Say Jar Jar Binks is an abomination." And the other agent's like, "Jar Jar Binks is an abomination! Jar Jar Binks is an abomination!"
Yeah, he hates Jar Jar Binks, and that's great. Have you ever played the Deadpool video game?
I have.
I hope the movie is like the game. Well, not like, but I mean, the two voices in his head, and I hope they're talking to him in parts of the movie, not the whole time. That kind of get annoying, but they're funny. There's a high-pitched, really annoying one, and then there's like this very smart,
very logical,
dude, very logical guy that Deadpool rarely listens to, and he doesn't really listen to the other one. He just screams and yells at it. He just does his own thing. But those two voices start to argue with each other, and that's pretty funny. And then he loves pancakes, boobies, and beer, and pizza.
Yes.
And rock and roll. He's big into that, and he loves guns. And he can't say kill. He's like, I can't say that K word. He's like, I have to unalive these people. That's what he calls it. Unalive.
That's right.
There's one where, like, in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, that's called the episode's called Ultimate Deadpool instead of Ultimate Spider-Man, because Deadpool and Spider-Man have to work together, and Deadpool's basically taking over the show.
I would have loved.
It was great. Because
I would have loved had the Deadpool game, been self-titled, Deadpool, but had the case instead of saying Deadpool, had him pointing at himself like it does, and it says me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on like the spine, it says Deadpool. But on the front cover, I wish it would say me.
Yeah, and the Deadpool kind of font and colors and all that good stuff, because Deadpool's going to be a great movie because it's Deadpool. He also, if you don't know his abilities, the guy can teleport.
Yes.
He has a healing factor that is arguably better than Wolverine's. He's got some super strength on him, and then he's very good with any weapon.
And he's also a jackass.
Yeah, and he's very unorthodox in everything, because in that Spider-Man episode that he was in, they were fighting Taskmaster, he copies everybody's moves.
Yes.
Deadpool beat him by dancing, because Taskmaster couldn't copy it, because they weren't fighting. They weren't, it wasn't a fighting style. Deadpool just made it up.
Photographic reflexes.
Yeah, so he was trying to hit him, but Deadpool's just dancing, and then
there's
a
comic book story called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and it pretty much just that. And the final fight comes down to Taskmaster and Deadpool, and they're in the swamp where Man-Thing is, and Taskmaster doesn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And Taskmaster's been hired by Mary Jane and Aunt May.
Aunt May, yeah.
To go kill him. And he meets him in the swamp, he draws the sword and everything, and they fight for a while. And Deadpool's like, this is going to go on forever and ever. And then he starts to stall Taskmaster. And he goes, oh yeah, try not to burn at his touch. And Man-Thing is behind him, and he grabs him, and anything that knows fear burns at Man-Thing's touch.
Uh-huh.
And it kills Taskmaster, then Deadpool looks at him and he's like, you're already suffering enough, big guy.
Yeah. So he gets Bruce Banner?
Yeah, he
gets him?
Kills everybody. Literally everybody.
Thor?
It actually kills Thor with pin particles and Thor's hammer.
Oh, yeah? So it makes him really small and boom.
No, takes the hammer and makes it even bigger.
Oh, okay. See, Deadpool, he's very unorthodox, but it works. Very, very good. Well, shouldn't Thor still be able to control it, even if it's that big?
It wasn't so much the inability to control it was the size.
The size, yeah. See, that's another thing. They need to have where the Absorbing Man comes in, because Absorbing Man, love it every time in the comic books when he absorbs Thor's hammer, Thor just kind of throws him around. Because guess what? He can control his hammer.
Yeah.
It's like, not very smart, buddy. And something else that I read in the comics is that the Infinity Gauntlet and Mjolnir basically an even match if they had the minds of their own and were putting up against each other. It's like neither one would win, because Mjolnir is just awesome. It's you're not gonna get any better weapon than that. And then the Infinity Gauntlet has 5 Infinity Stones in it. Which one?
6.
6.
Yeah, there is the Power Gem, the Reality Gem, Space Gem, Time Gem, Soul Gem, and then...
Yeah.
Did I say...
Was it Mind that you missed?
Mind... Let's see.
Mind or Time?
Mind, Power, Reality, Space... Soul...
Let's see. Power, Mind, Reality, Space...
Soul and Time.
Soul and Time, yeah. There's 6. Which one is Tesseract?
The Tesseract, I am going to go with, I would say probably the Space.
Because
the way it opens the portal.
See, I thought this Space one was the purple one from...
No, that one I am...
Or is that Soul? Purple one's probably Soul.
I think the Soul Stone is the one that is in Loki's scepter.
I thought that was Mind because he can control people's minds.
Mind. Let's see. I want to say that the one in...
Tesseract is either... Tesseract could be Space. But the purple one's either Space or Soul, is my guess.
I would also go as far to say maybe Power.
Power? I thought the Ether was Power.
There's a confirmed list somewhere.
Because, I thought the Ether from Thor 2 was the Power version. Since, it was red and all that good stuff. I thought the Power Stone was red.
I'm going to look this list up, and then I'm going to have to probably leave.
Okay.
So...
that's... Let's see, what else is there besides all that good stuff? Thor Ragnarok is going to be...
Ragnarok's going to be a good one.
Yeah. What's going to be the villain there? Is that going to probably...
I think it's just going to be Ragnarok.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, they'll use that to introduce Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good one.
Another thing is right now Thor doesn't know that Loki is
still alive.
And is actually acting like he is Odin right now.
Had we paid attention to the end of the movie, they weren't exactly keeping it a secret. Because if you go back and watch it, there's a way Odin sits on the throne, and there's a way that Loki sits on the throne.
Yeah, it was the way he was kind of leaning and had his spear set, and then Odin's like straight up like this. And my thing, then the first Thor, this is
the purple one is the power gem.
Yeah. Oh. Sounds like somebody's here. I'm not sure.
Oh well. Let's see. Soul, time, mind, space, power, and reality.
Yeah, I'm just confused on which one the Tesseract is. Which it could be space, like you said, because of the portals and stuff it opens.
Let's see. We know we have power, reality, space, and mind. Let's see. The ether is the reality stone.
Okay, ether is reality. Okay.
Loki staff. Loki's the stone, and Loki staff is the mind.
Okay.
Space is Tesseract, and then Power Stone is the purple one.
Okay. So really, I was just getting them kind of mixed up. I knew which one Loki's was. That was the only one I wasn't right about. But I mean, I knew those four were being used because we haven't seen Time or Soul yet, which I'm not sure how they're going to introduce those guys.
There's a theory going on that if you've watched the latest trailer for Age of Ultron, we see Vision's face.
Vision has a stone.
Vision has a stone. Now, comic book wise, that's nothing more than a solar stone that he uses to emit beams of destruction out of.
Yeah.
As a badass. But there is a theory.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
How much?
Your brother just came here to get you or something like that.
Okay.
I'm supposed to. He's at the front here.
Okay. Well, thanks for watching the podcast, guys.
We'll do this again sometime.
We'll do it again. Yeah. An hour and 40-some minutes. Yeah. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Good old Marvel. Screw DC.
Fuck you, David Esquire.
We love your faces, by the way. Hope you come back for more, whatever this podcast is called. Macho Cast. Oh boy. Dyson and Nate out. Bye, guys.
Bye.